So hello fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. And Joe Rogan had on a pair of people called Krystal and Saagar. I guess they are from The Hill. And I guess it's a good thing that I saw this particular episode because I always had this idea that The Hill was right-leaning. And really, as a result of that they might have a lot of fake news, or they might put, incorrect emphasis on certain things. But the couple of them, they're supposed to be a pair of people from opposing sides of the aisle, i.e., Republican leaning and Democrat leaning. And the idea for the show, or the main part of it for Joe Rogan, seems to be that they both don't have any problem with speaking honestly, which is, if you find that your side is doing something wrong, you admit to it and you agree, yes, my side is doing something wrong, they said something wrong, they did something ineffective. And I think one of the things that they have in common is that they both agree that there's corruption on both sides of the aisle, between corporate Democrats, as they say, and corporate Republicans. I don't know that there's any other kind. And they really mention the fact that there is a wheel that, as long as you toe the party line, even if bad things happen, they're still going to take care of you. As in, on your way up, people will still vote for you, and they will still press for you when it comes to it, and they will guide you on your way up. And after you've come out of politics, they will find a place for you on a board or some other way for you to get fed, to be able to pay your bills based on however their corporate backers find to be acceptable. And I think that's a good thing. I don't know if it's because they're on Joe that I'm not more behind it. Well, not more enthusiastic. I'm behind it, definitely. I think in one very, very short moment of time, they did mention the fact that, hey, in a way, this is how the system is, and it really can't be much any other way. Unfortunately it is. A slight analogy is that the system is, in terms of nature, that there are carnivores and there are herbivores, and yet it's not nice for the carnivores to eat the herbivores, but when you're born with, long canines and the ability to run, and you can't really eat too much herbivage or plant material, then I guess you're just gonna have to kill. So I think Joe got into, I guess it was a bit of a running disagreement with Krystal, because I think that Joe's right-leaning anyway. They say most Democrats are right-leaning anyway. So, but he basically thinks that Trump is right, and they should send in the military to reduce the looting. And Krystal was like, basically what she's saying is that would escalate the situation. It would infringe on people's rights, and it's not the right thing to do, because it will maybe inflame the situation. Maybe it might not end. Maybe it might just get worse. And I think, in a way, if I had to say something, I have to admit that I don't know a lot. They seem to be very knowledgeable. Both Krystal and Saagar seem to be pretty knowledgeable. Saagar seems to be somebody who is of Indian descent, but he could be, Pakistani or any number of places, Sri Lanka, and anything like that. And Krystal is a white lady. But they're both pretty knowledgeable on it. I think that this is the thing, as Joe said at one point. He said, that this thing isn't the thing to do, as in sending the military, but you're not suggesting something to do. And, it kind of hit me. just because you know what you shouldn't do doesn't mean that, okay, let's do that thing because I don't have a better idea. One of the things that, she presented, and I think it was just too glossed over, was that in a way, okay, you look at the people whose livelihoods are being destroyed or their shops are being destroyed as a result of the looting, right? There's some corporations, but even those corporations, if a place is burnt out, you don't need employees for that place. So it's not like they necessarily might find a new place for those people to work. It's going to affect certain people. As she was pointing out, though, when you look at the idea that the government has supported large corporations but not small businesses, then the amount of people who are out of work because of that alone, I would imagine it seriously dwarfs what we're seeing on TV. And Neil deGrasse Tyson has mentioned this. He's mentioned the fact that things that are on TV, the sensational stuff, that's what gets us up in arms, and we want to do something about this thing that we saw on TV that might really have no real statistical, not be a statistical problem. So, for example, there's an issue with respect to gun violence in the US. Well, the gun violence that is in the US, I've mentioned this before, is about 11,000 deaths every year. Okay? If you look at smoking, the number of smoking deaths are about 500,000 smoking deaths every year. But people say, hey, I guess it's their choice. Is it really their choice? I don't want to go too far down that road, but if the tobacco companies really put out all of this disinformation that has people actually believing that, it's not really that bad. Is it a choice? If you are interfering with people's understanding but anyway, rolling it back up, I don't think it's really a choice that as free for people. Certainly not for the people who were affected by secondhand smoke. Also, I don't think, but this seemed to be a running issue in their discussion. You're sending the military. Sending the military is what Joe Rogan wanted to do because we have to do something. Really? Let's find out how many people are affected before you send in the military. I don't know how much that is going to cost to send in the military. It's so easy to just go with this solution for this sensational thing that you're seeing right here. Yes, I am sure that a lot of people's livelihood are being affected. On the flip side, could it be worse sending in the military? Joe seems to have a crystal ball. He seems to know it's not going to stop if you don't do anything about it. I don't know that it's not going to stop. I have no idea, but if Joe is tapping into some sort of who knew when it started? Who knew that they were going to loot? Who knew that there were even going to be protests because of this? But Joe seems to know that. And the reason why I seem to be emphasizing this is because I think a lot of the points that Krystal made, they're good points. As in, much worse has been done to people's jobs and their environment because of what the government was unable to do. Nothing good comes of sending in the military. Joe had an example of, say what you want about Giuliani. He got the crime down. And Krystal mentioned, yes, but the crime was already going down in cities all across the nation. Yeah, but say what you want. I think Joe really needs to know about correlation and causation. And as he said, I get that he doesn't really need to to know too much about what he's saying. I guess that's some, unfortunately, but he feels that something needs to be done because this thing's on TV. So I guess, but I guess I will pay more attention to reports that come out of the Hill, because both of those people seem to be pretty knowledgeable. I had never heard of them before. I purposefully ignore stuff from certain establishments because, for example, Newsweek seems to be a propaganda party. I think they're owned by the same guy, Murdoch, who owns Fox. And, that Fox really puts out a lot of bad information. I don't know, well, I do know, but it's just amazing that they can put out just incorrect, like easily searchably, incorrect information. And it certainly seems like that with respect to Newsweek. They have a couple of stories that I've seen from them that are just, well, is it Newsweek or the New York Post I'm thinking of? Yeah, I think it's the Post. Yeah, sorry, it's not Newsweek. Newsweek seems to be fine. But the New York Post, I think, is what is just bad in some respects. But it was, and I guess that one thing I have to look up is apparently a reporter lost her eye because of a rubber bullet. And I think that's what Krystal is talking about. This is, I don't know what the reporter would have been doing for them to lose an eye, but a rubber bullet shot by the police. So worse can be expected from the military, I would imagine. But hey, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, guys, well, you can wish me lucks. You can like or unlike. You can comment, subscribe, and or share. And of course, the best option, if you want, you can do nothing. Peace.